council. So I would ask for a motion. If we get a motion, then obviously we'd ask for a second, and then we could discuss. So I'm going to offer this up for, do we have a motion on the floor for item 5A?
Offer a motion.
So we have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion. We do not have a second. All right, so the item dies then.
Thank you.
All right, ma'am.
I'll claim you. Well, we can always bring it back up. I just think, it's, yeah, we do need parking downtown. I totally agree as I survey and.
Well, are you going to second it, or if you're not going to second it, then we don't have to have any discussion.
Well,
We'll move on with business.
I'm still want to discuss it.
Well, we're not going
In
to.
order to get a second, so I tell you what, we'll let the motion die.
All right, motion dies. All right, moving on to item 6, city manager.
All right, we knew the storm was coming, like I talked about Jacobs earlier. They did all they could do to prepare the city. When we realized it was coming, we had a lot of resources come over here from around the state. We had the National Guard show up, and we ordered a lot of things. I ordered about 2,000 feet of what they call tiger dams that we were going to try to place around at least that one block downtown that would hold 3.5 feet of water off. We were told that they would show up and set those dams up, and they showed up and dropped off the dams, but the people that were supposed to set them up were called away due to the hurricane. So we lost out on that deal. We did get a lot of help from the EOC and all the people that showed up. We run 2 pumps. We got 5 pump trucks in here that were holding about 6,500 gallons apiece. I'm sure you've seen those running around. We ran 10 generators. We've got 23 lift stations that we were, trying to keep running at all times, but a lot of them ran out of power. So we had to run generators to those. Some of them were too deep to get generators to. We know that 129, Helveston, 2nd Street, Duval, Lake, Ruby, Bryson, Lee, I can't name all the streets that have flooded. 129, of course, and 90 was the worst. Probably on Hillman, the water was probably close to 20 feet deep. We had 2 employees in the city that lost everything. Water was way over, their cars and everything. So we've got a lot of cleanup to do. There's a lot of emotion in this room right now about the hurricane and about the flooding. Like I said earlier, I spoke to the governor and Corey Simon on Wednesday, and Kat Kamick and Marco Rubio on Thursday, and this was face to face, okay? When I spoke to the governor, I shook his hand and held on to his hand during my entire conversation so that he wouldn't back out and go get in his car. I held on to him and told him that I'm tired of seeing them send people to us, and that I've been with 2 engineering groups this last week, and we have a plan to fix this, not just a Band-Aid, a real plan. And I told the governor, if you want to quit coming over here, then you back my plan and help us with the money. And I told the same to Marco Rubio and Kat Kamick the next day, because I'm dead serious. The only issue that I see being a problem, and it's on video, DEP is going to be my only problem, okay? I've already got word through Tallahassee that DEP's been pushing back. DOT's for it, the governor's for it, the legislature's for it. DEP is so worried about regulations. They're not worried about you people getting flooded. They're not worried about us spending money every time something happens. They just want to sit in their little office and write regulations. And I hate to say it like this, but if I have a 6-inch go-away well, do you really think that's going to really help a lot when you pour so much water on top of it? Think about pouring a pitcher of water onto a straw. You reckon it can all go down that straw? No, there's no way. It'll all back up and go everywhere. So they need to lighten up on the regulations, and if I get to meet the people face to face, I plan on it, we're going to have a come to Jesus meeting about this, because I care about livelihood. That's why I took this job. I didn't ask for this job. I was asked to take this job. And I've committed to not kick the can down the road. And I know there's all kinds of problems that everybody's been having. But I want you to know that every day when I leave here, I think about it all night till the next morning of all the things that I need to improve. And now with this hurricane happening, it's made me want to redouble my efforts and kick a bunch of people's rear ends that are in government, not our government, but up in Tallahassee and the federal government, to help us out. Because if you're not kicking them in the butt every day, they're going to forget about you. And I am not backing off of this. I know I'm getting a little bit intense because I'm passionate. And I want to fix every problem everybody's had. I'll give you another example. I got a call Saturday afternoon that we hadn't mowed cemeteries. I wasn't really worried about cemeteries at that point in time because we've been dealing with water. But by 8:30 Monday or Saturday night, we got our cemeteries mowed too. So I'm going to do whatever I can. I've got to know about all the problems. And let me tell you, this man JL sitting right over here, he has worked his tail off, okay? And everybody can point fingers and holler at us and tell us we're not doing the best. But there's only a few people here to do the job. We're not a huge city. And the other thing that's been brought up about money and things like that, this town has grown by 200 people since the 1960 census. 60 years, the same 5,000 people have been paying all the bills. We're not growing, we're not adding houses, we're not adding subdivisions. And if we don't do that, just like anything else, if you leave a plant in a pot long enough, it's going to get root bound, it can't grow, and it's going to die. You got to grow a little bit and give it some more dirt to be able to grow. If we get more subdivisions and more houses, we have more customers. And more customers pay more bills, and then we can have more money for services. Right now, we're arguing about unfreezing a position on the police department in our budget discussions. That $80,000 worth of payroll and benefits may be the biggest contentious part. We may not be able to give the chief another person to protect our people. So I'm looking at the budget. While we're gone this week talking, I'll be talking to each individual person about the budget too. But you can't grow without money. You can't do anything without money. And we have put a Band-Aid on these situations in this town for I don't know how many years. I've been here since January, okay? So I'm excited. I want to get it done. But I've got to find the people to help me do the job, not my staff, but the funding. Because I'm only getting the same 5,000 people every day paying their water, or every month paying their water bills and their sewer bills. And it's the same, been on the backs of the same people for 60 years. I want more people to show up and us do more things, because then the new subdivisions that come in, we won't have to go over there and work on those subdivisions. We can take that money and work on the places that need it, off of 2nd Street and 6th Street and Eva and Ruby and everywhere else. I know where all the problems are. We all know where the problems are. We just don't have the money in our pockets to fix it. So, if you're unhappy with me, that's the way it is. And you get the council to get rid of me, that's fine. Like I said, I came to this job because I was asked, because I didn't ask for it, but I want to help Live Oak. But I can't do anything without growth and without getting federal and state help. So if you know people in the federal and the state government that you want to vote for that's feeling good about Live Oak, like Corey Simon is, you need to vote for him because he cares. He has been here more as a freshman congressperson or senator than any other person prior in that job I've ever seen the whole time I've been here in 30 years. That young man doesn't need the job. He's an ex-football player. He's got plenty of money, but he loves these communities in North Florida, and he's been here more than anybody else I can think of. So when it comes to voting this year, and he didn't ask me to say this, but you need to vote for Corey Simon to get some things done in this county because he cares. And, I think we have some friends in the legislature, and the governor now, you know, he's a political individual, I understand that. But I think he got my point last Wednesday. And, you know, now I'm just waiting to see if they're gonna do something about it. I'm sorry for being on this soapbox. I care about it, and my door is always open if you wanna come talk to me. You know, I'm always here. Now, I'm hard to find when we got problems, because I'm out here looking at the problems and driving through the high water and checking out drains that are plugged. And jail drove me up to a generator yesterday, and I leaned out the window and this much water to crank the generator because it had quit. I mean, we're out here every day trying to do our best for livelihood. So if, you know, that's all I can say is there's lots of issues, there's lots of old issues here. I'm not kicking it down the road anymore, and eventually we'll fix these things. But I can't do them all this week. And I'm sorry for getting passionate, but that's me.
You know, there's pumps that has so much, I mean, I guess they're called pumps. They're like, you know, big things like this in the middle of the water out there. I think it's a state one that is so covered with grass, water can go in that. And it's down there on 129 where that whole building got flooded. I saw it today.
That's, you know,
I know it's a state thing, it's
it's
not
a
ours.
state. There's a lot of state issues in this city. We were supposed to have a meeting with DOT. I spoke to one of the people at EOC the other day. They said, no, we postponed it, we moved it. We need a lot of discussion with DOT because Helmiston is theirs, 129 is theirs, 90 is theirs, and a lot of the retention ponds around here are theirs. Yet we're the ones that catch it, okay? We do go and we work on them without permission half the time because we're really not supposed to be in there, but we do. And then things keep happening, keep coming back. So we do things that we're probably not supposed to be doing to try to make things better. Just not everybody sees that.
Mr. Session, we appreciate all of the hard work that you have been doing and that you're doing for the city. And we know that you are definitely working hard to make the city a great place to live in and trying to definitely grow the city. But we are a nonpartisan group that's set up here. And for you to vote for a particular person.
I'm sorry, I was wrong.
That is
You're
our
right.
board.
I'm completely wrong on that. I'm just telling you that this person cares a lot about Live Oak like I do, and I don't want any thanks for doing my job. I just want to be able to do my job. And if I stepped on toes and did the wrong thing, then,
It's
you
not
know,
stepping on toes, it's about the
it's
proper,
not about,
the way
I understand.
that we handle things and.
I handled it wrong, and I apologize to everybody in this room, because political issues are probably the most divisive thing in this United States.
Exactly.
And you're right, I went overboard on that. I just see the way this person cares about this community, and I shouldn't even have said it.
Let's move on.
All right, so
I'm sorry,
let's go on to,
I apologize.
let's somebody else. Good.
I'm good.
All right, item B, discussion with possible council action resolution 2024-23, a resolution authorizing the execution and amendment to the traffic signal maintenance and compensation agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation.
City Council Resolution number 2024-23, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Live Oak, Florida, authorizing the execution of an amendment to the traffic signal maintenance and compensation agreement with the State of Florida Department of Transportation and providing for an effective date.
All right. Any further from staff? All right, so you've heard the resolution read. What would be the pleasure of the council?
Offer motion that we approve resolution number 2024-23.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
and we have a second. So having heard that, any further discussion? No further discussion? All in favor? All opposed, like sign? All right, resolution 2024-23 passes. All right, item C, discussion with possible council action, resolution 20-24-24, a resolution authorizing the execution grant agreement D0275 with the Florida Department of Commerce, providing for the acceptance of a grant award of up to $295,000 in reimbursable costs associated with the redevelopment of a comprehensive water and sewer master plan.
City Council Resolution 2024-24, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Live Oak, Florida, authorizing the execution of grant agreement D0275 with the Florida Department of Commerce, providing for the acceptance of a grant award of up to $295,000 in reimbursable costs associated with the development of a comprehensive water and sewer master plan and providing for an effective date.
All right, pleasure of the council.
I make the motion that we accept this city council resolution number 2024-24.
So we have a motion, do we have a second? Any discussion? No discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed, like sign? All right, resolution 2024-24 passes. Item 6D was deleted, so we're going to go on to 6E.
Be glad to read.
Thank you, sir.
Ordinance number 1514, an ordinance adopting and enacting a new code for the City of Live Oak, Florida, providing for the repeal of certain ordinances not included therein, providing a penalty for the violation thereof, providing for the manner of amending such code, and providing when such code and this ordinance shall become effective.
All right, this is final reading, so we're going to open it up to, oh, I'm sorry, before we open up the public comment, we do have somebody who wants to speak, so Mr. Goodwin.
Well, you can have the speaking, the public comment during your public hearing. That's the goal of that. So.
Okay, so we are opening the floor to public hearing now. Go ahead, Mr. Goodwin.
Billy Golightly, I own the building at 406 West Howard Street here in Live Oak. I know I'm a little late to the party on this. I see this is the final reading. I just kind of wanted to understand what the intent was. We're enacting new code. I'm familiar with the city code in Unicode, but section 2 of this ordinance says we're repealing anything prior to November of 2023. There's a lot of stuff in Unicode from the 70s to the early 2000s. We just kind of like to understand what the new code is or where it's based at in relation to what we've been operating with thus far.
Yes, sir.
It's essentially just an update. That language references that antiquated provisions in the prior codes. Unicode just keeps building upon itself. And so what we did, we had a consultant come in and take everything we have in Unicode and update it, take out all the obsolete provisions, some of which had been repealed by statutes years ago. Those obviously are not enforced anymore once repealed by statute. And so the code is not here, but it's about that thick. And those portions that remain relevant and remain legal to our city, they have remained. It's the repeal language essentially takes care of the ones that have been superseded by subsequent statutes. We had some in there in the 70s and 80s. Statutes have done away with those. And so we cleaned it up, in other words. Everything that was not now provided for by statute's been removed.
So I'm going to ask, and specifically there's, I believe it's section 38 is like a lot of parking standards and stuff that's in the existing code. I mean, is there a document to cross-reference what's staying in, what is being taken out or superseded by other stuff? Or
I don't have it in front of me, but the Muni Code provisions, I think, cross-reference. Do they not, John? Cross-reference where you can find it. So those portions of that particular section you're referring to that remain in effect, they will be in part of the new code. If you look in that section dealing with parking, and you don't find something from the old Muni code, that means it's been repealed.
So in this one in particular, I mean, there's a reference to state law reference and has Florida statute numbers and stuff. So you're saying if this was basically superseded by that Florida statute, then it's coming out of Muni code, the Florida statute is replacing it.
Or we left it in there to the extent it was applicable and made reference to the Florida statute that addressed it on a state level versus a local one.
Okay. One last question. Mr. Gill, the Muni code link that you sent me, so is that what we've been operating under, or is that what we're going to be operating under?
That's what's currently, that's linked to what's up operating right now.
So that's not what we'll be operating under?
That is current. That's what we'll be operating under.
What we will be?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. That was my question.
Yes.
I just want to make sure what I was looking at was current versus
It's current.
being replaced with something else. Thank you. That was the crux of my question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Any more from the public?
Can anybody ask a question?
Yeah, it's a public hearing on this final reading.
I have a question like him because you won't know what ordinance is. In the ordinance, I'm wondering, because we have, before the storm, so many neighborhoods and houses with slumlords and blighted areas, one headed up Railroad Avenue. I've written the owners about them. And I think last time the ordinance said that they couldn't go in or onto the property unless they had to turn lights on or something, when I reported all these houses that are like a blight to the neighborhood. So I don't know if ordinances with regards to abatement and, for lack of a better word, slumlord houses with just that totally blight large swaths of neighborhood, that I've taken pictures and written the owners, but to no avail. And I don't know if there's any consequences for having those types.
You'll just have to review the code because, like you say, there are, with the enactment of some new statutes, there are some new penalties and some new teeth in certain rules or certain regulations